Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to make a video about what I wish I knew before I started a vegan diet. And this video is not in any way, shape, or form to put anyone else down who maybe has not been successful. It is not to shame anybody. It is not to say that I am right and everyone should listen to me. And what I'm sharing in this video is just what I found that works for me the most. And that is what works for me. If something else works different for you, I highly recommend that you make a video and share how you've been successful on a vegan diet. But this is just my story and my opinion. So starting off, the first thing that I want to touch on is just the fact of being a YouTuber and realizing where everyone else is coming from. So we're all on this platform sharing what is working for us in the moment. I think we're all trying to be as honest and transparent as we can be. But the biggest thing that everyone viewing YouTube needs to realize is that I am just a YouTuber. I am just a person sharing my journey, what works for me, the sense of what I eat in a day, how I live my life, and all of those things. I am not an expert. I have not been someone who has been studying a plant-based diet for 30 years or anything like that. I have done a ton of research and I feel like I know a lot about nutrition, but that does not make me an expert. It doesn't make me a doctor. I do not have a PhD in plant-based research. And I made this mistake when I first went vegan, following other YouTubers and what they were doing, and it led me down a path that did not work for me. And obviously I think that it's great to get inspiration from people and the way that other people live their lives. That's how we better ourselves, and that's how we figure out what path we want to take. But I think as YouTubers, people give us too much credit, honestly. And my biggest advice to anybody is to follow the experts. Luckily, this was something that I learned in the very beginning, when I was following a bunch of YouTubers and their diet and whatever didn't work for me. The first person that I looked to was Dr. McDougall. And then I researched a bunch of other books. I read the China Study. I read Dr. Greger's book, How Not to Die. I read a bunch of Caldwell Esselstyn books, Neil Barnard books. I really educated myself from these guys who have been researching a plant-based diet before I was even born. And one thing that really scares me, which I have fault in this, I've tried to help people as much as I could in the past, which I'm not going to do this anymore, but people email me all the time about their health problems. And I try to help people, but I am not the person to email if you have a health issue. I am not a doctor. Whenever I've had a nutritional deficiency, which I'm going to talk about in a video coming up and how I solved that, I won't get super into it right now, but it was like a minor nutritional deficiency, and I've really only ever had one. I contacted Dr. McDougall and I asked him, what should I do? All of these guys, Dr. McDougall, Dr. Greger, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Neil Barnard, they have their emails on their websites and they reply to everybody. They are very quick at getting back to you. They are doctors. You can trust them. They know what they are talking about. They've had these questions so many times. So if you ever have an issue on a vegan diet, I highly recommend that you contact one of these doctors. Another thing that you can do is there is a website that I will link below. I can't remember exactly what it's called right now, but it's a directory of every single plant-based physician in the United States of America. And I think it actually covers other countries as well. So if you don't want to go to a normal doctor who's probably really not going to understand your diet and your ethical values and might just give you a bottle of pills to fix your symptoms, you can go to this website and find a plant-based doctor in your area and they can help you through it. When Derek and I decided to start having a family or trying to have a family, that was the biggest thing that I was worried about, was where are we going to take our kid to the doctor, because I don't want to go to a normal doctor. So I went on this website and I found a plant-based family physician in Tucson, and I'm like, that will be our doctor. And it's just very nice and comforting to know that you can have a doctor who's on your side, who supports your diet, who's done tons of research, who has a medical degree, that will give you the proper advice on how to proceed if you have any issues. So probably the rest of this video, I'm just going to be talking about my diet and what has worked for me. Obviously, if you guys have been following me for a long time, you'll know that when I first went vegan, I was trying to eat a very high carb, raw, vegan, fruit-based diet, and it did not work for me at all. I gained a bunch of weight. I was eating so much food, like 3,000-4,000 calories a day, because I was never satisfied. And I had blood tests done at this time, and I remember specifically that my triglycerides were through the roof, and I had some other minor deficiencies, but I can't remember exactly what they were. I know one was B12, which obviously is something that we need to take through a supplement. But eating a raw vegan diet was definitely not something that was sustainable for me at all. And that was just me personally. I did not like it. I grew up in Minnesota. I have always had more like savory foods. And eating fruit all day was just not working for me. So when I found a starch-based diet, this was the thing that really turned my health around as quickly as you could possibly imagine. I started by reading The Starch Solution by Dr. McDougall, and within 6 months I had lost 40 pounds. All of my blood tests were perfect. I felt amazing. I always felt satisfied. I never counted calories. I never starved myself. I never did any of that. I was eating tons of vegetables, potatoes, rice, beans, and I was still eating fruits obviously, but more in smaller quantities and as like a dessert and not massive smoothies. And that was what really worked for me. That made me feel my best, and that is just my preferred diet personally, because I find it is the most sustainable. It is the cheapest way you could possibly eat on planet Earth. Potatoes, rice, beans are all like 30 cents per pound. They're super cheap. You can find them anywhere in the entire world. They are shelf safe. They'll last forever. And if you haven't read the China study, there are hundreds of cultures around the world who have been eating like this for a very long time. These are the longest lived people basically in the world who have never heard of really any diseases that we suffer with in the United States or in westernized cultures. People like the Okinawan tribe who live basically off of sweet potatoes. You have the Tarahumara Indians who live mostly off of corn. The Asian populations that do not live in really big cities and live more in smaller areas around the world live basically off of rice, and they thrive off of it, and the research really says it all to me. I am more of a scientific person, so I really like to look at research, like research that has been well documented for a very long time, and base my lifestyle and my diet off of that, and obviously find something within that realm that works for me. So yeah, I feel like a starch-based diet is the most sustainable way to eat a vegan diet. But again, that is just my personal opinion. Another thing that I want to say is we need to stop demonizing entire whole plant food groups and macronutrients. And another thing is to stop being afraid of cooked foods. All whole plant foods are healthy foods. Nuts are healthy, rice is healthy, potatoes are healthy, fruit is healthy, vegetables are healthy. Every single one of these foods are very healthy and very nutritious. You can tweak a vegan diet to make it work in a different way for you. So obviously if you want to build more muscle, you can add in more of the macronutrient protein. If you want to lose weight and be able to stay full and satisfied, the best way to do that is to lower your fat intake so that you're eating less calorie dense foods. But to demonize entire macronutrients or food groups for your entire life really is not a sustainable way of thinking, and it's more of like an orthorexic mindset. And I really think that this is where people go wrong. I personally eat a low-fat, starch-based diet 95% of the time because that is what makes me feel my best. I have eaten higher fat in the past, and it really messed up my periods and gave me some nutritional deficiencies, which you guys see in the next video where I talk about that and how I corrected it. You really have to find what works for you and what works for your goals, what works for your lifestyle, and focus on eating a whole foods plant-based diet. Like I said, eating the way that I eat and the way that I show on my YouTube channel makes me feel my best and helps me maintain my ideal body weight, helps me maintain clear skin, helps me have healthy hair, healthy eyes, healthy everything. And this is how I feel my best. But I feel like it could be very easy to go down an orthorexic path. Personally, the way that I eat at home is the way that I eat 95% of the time, and I do have like a tiny rule about that because I feel like if I bring junk food into my house, or I bring alcohol into my house, or I bring these more processed foods into my house, I know myself. I have been very overweight in the past, and I don't mean that as a negative thing at all. I love food, and it is very easy for me to go down a path of just like eating a lot of processed food. But I do enjoy going out to a vegan restaurant and eating some really rich, hearty meal and then being done with it and being able to enjoy that and then move on. I have tried to be very, very strict about these kinds of things in the past and go out to restaurants and like just eat rice and just eat super, super high carb, like unprocessed foods, and that's not really fun for me at all. So that's something else that works for me. Obviously, if you have like a food addiction or something like that, it can be a totally different story, but I think the key component here is learning balance and learning how to enjoy our lives, eat the healthiest diet that we can, not only for ourselves, but for the animals, for the planet that we live on, and doing that in a sustainable way and being honest and open about it. I think it's great that people are sharing their struggles because we can kind of see what's not working for people. I really hope that everyone who has, gone back to animal products will soon realize that they can eat a whole foods plant-based diet in a very sustainable way and live a long life and be happy and be proud of something that they're promoting. The other thing that I want to mention is not being afraid of using medical intervention if something happens to you. It can be kind of scary to, with everything that we learn kind of through watching Forks Over Knives and What the Health and some of these documentaries that really expose the medical industry and the prescription drug industry for what it is, it can be kind of scary to put our faith in that. But I am a believer in Western medicine. If I really needed to have a surgery, if I needed to have a cancer treatment or take antibiotics or really heal myself in a way that needed a Western medical intervention, I would do it. And I feel like with the kind of purist mindset, it's very easy to just be like, no, that's really bad, I don't want to do that. And that can lead us down to a path where we're not able to heal ourselves because we're so afraid of medical intervention. But there is a place for it. If I got into a car accident, I would not want someone to bring me to a naturopath. I would want them to bring me to a hospital. And then the last thing that I want to mention is just being on top of your health and taking care of yourself. Getting regular blood tests every single year, going to see a plant-based doctor in your area or any doctor that you can see, and just getting a normal routine checkup. Not being afraid of supplements. This is another thing that I'm going to be talking about in the video that I'll be posting soon, but I'm a big believer in supplements. I was afraid of them for a really long time. I personally believe that because our food is not grown in the most ideal conditions, even if it is organic, the soil just really is not what it used to be. We also have a lot of environmental toxins that can deplete our bodies of essential minerals very quickly. So I'm a big believer in supplements. I think having a blood test and realizing like where you're low and what you need and supplementing with that is the best way to go, and not just like willy-nilly taking a bunch of supplements because you think that you need them, but really doing your research and doing what's best for your body. And that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about today. Like I said, I hope this video helps you guys in any way possible. I just wanted to share the things that I've learned being vegan for the last 6 years and not really having any issues whatsoever. Just remember that you're on your own journey. You need to listen to your body. You need to do your own research and figure out what works best for you and move in a direction that really aligns with your health, your values, and everything that you stand for. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.